Why people like anime girls?
Is an anime girl. To the average observer, this may look like just another animated character. But what if I told you that characters like this have been reaching international popularity?
International?
Whether you're from Japan or not, the odds are that you yourself have seen someone online using an anime girl as an avatar.
What?
In this video on Pax Tube,
no.
we're going to find out
who would do that? That's weird.
So well liked. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about anime. Specifically, the anime and manga industry produced by Japan. This art industry has become very popular around the world, especially on the internet. Unlike Western animation, which typically gears itself toward children, the anime industry targets a wide variety of age demographics. Thus, you'll find fans who are adults and teenagers alike. In recent years, Western companies have even attempted live-action adaptations of anime, with not much success, to put it lightly.
Only the One Piece one was good. One Piece was pretty good.
But the rise of popularity of anime in the West is worthy of investigation, and it leads us to some telling conclusions. A key factor that stands out in anime's success is its female characters, who garner fan bases in and of themselves. The term waifu, a variation of the word wife, is used commonly in anime circles to refer to one's favorite female character. It's become obvious at this point that anime girls have a special charm that viewers in the West are picking up on. Firstly, appearance. Now, the most common explanation of why anime girls are popular is that they're cute. And that's very true.
The cats.
These characters are professionally designed to be feminine and attractive. There are entire animation methods devoted to their styles. The physical traits that are highlighted in anime include flowing hair, large and detailed eyes, and slim or curvaceous bodies. These features are highlighted because they're widely accepted as beautiful. Some might argue that beauty is
That's why I love anime so much. Like, anime is like so aesthetic. Like, I've always thought I've always thought it was so much more aesthetic than like anything else.
But let's face it, they're ultimately physical traits that people are biologically wired to be attracted to.
Wait, is that true?
Those creating anime do not try to obscure this. It should also be noted that these female designs go hand in hand with clothing that accentuates their feminine features, such as ribbons, bows, or other hair accessories.
It's kind of funny because if you think about it, like Western stuff is trying to eliminate a lot of femininity, actually. It's really like masculinizing a lot of female characters and making them more masculine. It's like kind of removing like this sort of charm that people like out of it, right?
Meanwhile, some character designs are more childlike, which are intended to trigger protective instincts from the viewer. You could call this the cute or comfy factor. Now, of course, anime doesn't exist in a vacuum.
Akalama says the funny thing about all of this is that one animator who said they draw the characters more like, so being a weeb makes you a Westyaboo by proxy? Really? Is that they draw the characters more like white people so that Japanese viewers have more of a disconnect from what they're watching. Is that true? That's an interesting...
So to understand its ascendancy in the West, we also need to look at what's going on in Western media. In Western media, by contrast,
I was literally talking about this.
Character designs that even differentiate between men and women. Some have linked this to the fat acceptance and androgynous movements. But truthfully, these two movements are simply two branches of the entire source. That source is feminism, which has come to utterly dominate Western media. Hollywood and television studios consistently identify more as feminist and liberal than the general public. This is then reflected in their portrayals of women. In a great irony, feminism rejects the value of femininity and works instead as a...
This is the thing I don't like about feminism, is it does reject like the difference. Femininity is not bad. But like a lot of the time they make it seem like it is. Like it's the irony is like they're like femininity is weak, which is like that's fucking hilarious. You know? Like,
conduit to make females masculine. The biological differences between the sexes are seen not as something to be celebrated, but as obstacles to be destroyed. These natural differences are thus downplayed, and studios put ridiculous efforts into making female characters look and behave like their male counterparts.
The loudest grasp the seats of power.
Things weren't always this way in Western media, but they certainly are now. Meanwhile, this kind of feminist influence simply does not exist in anime studios, and that's played an enormous part in this contrast of character designs. And beyond just the issue of feminism, a solid portion of the animation that gets propped up by corporations in the West is downright hideous. So it's clear that the physical appearance of anime
I love Holo.
girls is a main factor that makes them popular in the current West. But I will submit to you that there is an even greater factor at play that goes far deeper than physical appearance. To lead into this, let's look at how Maki from the anime Love Lab responds to receiving a compliment from a boy.
君さ、 ちょっと可愛いと思って人のことバカにしてんだろ。
Me too. Me too. Me too. But yeah, like this would be seen as awful actually in the West. Like if a guy said like this is like a fucking tsundere as fuck comment. By the way, this guy is a fucking certified tsundere. But if you said this in the West, you would get fucking canceled, dude. They'd be like, excuse me, what did you say? Did you say that I only think that because I'm cute? Because I'm a woman?
可愛いと思って人のことバカにしてんだろ。なんだよそれのおかしいだろ。だって男の子に
可愛いなんて言われたの。
Take note of the traits that are being displayed here. This leads into the point. Anime girls are liked because of their virtuous and feminine personality traits. A female character portraying bashfulness like this is common in anime, but all but extinct in Western media. Generally, these characters demonstrate attributes that make them ideal candidates for wives, including loyalty, modesty, and a positive view of marriage and children. It's a common sight in anime, especially in
Stop!
the slice of life genre, to see characters outright fantasize about marriage.
それにこう見えても天文学の前はいいお嫁さんになるのも夢だったから。二人で
お二人の初めての共同作業です。
Characters are written this way intentionally, because not only do these virtues make them good love interests, but they're also admirable traits in and of themselves. I've noticed that chastity in particular is a value that anime likes to highlight. This applies to both male and female characters, but to avoid going off topic, I'll stick to the female.
I've seen some anime. Fuck you, Rudius.
Importantly, even
You
female
fucking
protagonists
bitch.
that are designed in a sexualized way are written carefully to have these virtues. I may not be a fan of some of these designs,
Oh, what? You're not a fan of the fucking farm girl?
are
Pax?
written carefully to have these virtues. I may not be a fan of
Pax, what? She's so cute. What? She's pink. What the fuck? What the fuck? Also, by the way, Orkbulg is hot. Like, this is like one of the hottest characters. I don't even know what his face looks like, but he's like one of the hottest characters in anime. I want to be her, and I want this to be my best friend. Then I would marry him. Actually, no, I don't want to be her. I want to be the priestess girl. I can be the priestess girl, and then we can get married.
some of these designs because they stride the line towards sexploitation, but their behavior, as I've described,
His face is average. I don't give a fuck what his face looks like, Tazuto. You think I give a fuck? That man can kill 20 goblins in like 30 seconds. That in of itself already makes me hot. I don't even care. You don't have to say anything. He killed 20 goblins in 30 seconds. That means he can protect me and my children.
shows that they're
And our children.
written with nuance. As one example of this, in the anime Overlord, the character Albedo is revealed to be a virgin despite her sexualized appearance. It's a rarity to hear a character say something like this outside of anime. Now, these female characterizations draw a stark contrast to not only Western media, but Western society itself. Currently in the West, values like modesty, chastity, and romantic exclusivity are increasingly treated as unnecessary or antiquated. This is in spite of the fact that most
I hate this, by the way. I hate this so much. I think it's so messed up to like, it's just so messed up in general to like everybody, I think.
research shows that these things are critical to developing healthy long-term relationships. A 2019 research report from the Institute of Family Studies found that traditionally minded and religious couples reported the highest level of relationship quality and sexual satisfaction.
It's that easy. It's that easy. It's that easy, you guys.
Other research has shown that women who engage in promiscuous sex are more likely to have failed marriages, more likely to become single mothers, more likely to get an abortion, and less likely to report personal happiness than women who had zero sexual partners prior to being married. It truthfully turns out that the sexual revolution and free love were an utter disaster. But in spite of this, most of Western society continues to double down on normalizing.
Man, they double down so hard on this, and like they're so proud of it. I'm so proud of it, and they're like, oh, you know, it's like liberation and freedom and stuff. But like, is it happiness?
Promiscuity. Fortunately, though, things aren't all bad just yet, as surveys do show that people say that those with more than 2 past sexual partners are undesirable for long-term relationships. The problem is that Americans report having between 4 and 7 past sexual partners.
What the fuck, you guys? What the fuck?
partners. This has created an extreme gap between the kind of person people want a long-term relationship with and the kind they can actually choose from. Furthermore, the average age people first report having sex is 17. Now add in the fact that data shows marriage has a negative correlation with number of sex partners. That is, the more sex partners a person has, the less successful their marriage is likely to be. All of these things have come together to create a relationship wasteland in the West.
You know what? If you think about it, I wonder. Lately, a thing I've been really looking into is like the effect of chemicals. The effect of brain chemicals on like actually mind controlling you into stuff. Anyone else ever think about that? How like a lot of the things that we do are because of certain chemical responses in our minds, and it's been a weird like thing I've been. This is like a recent rabbit hole I've been down on, is like trying to find like the effect of like different chemical responses in your brain. And I wonder if the reason this is the case is because there's a chemical that happens when you have sex with someone. There's a brain chemical that activates that makes you bonded to that person. You do that a bunch. Again, I'm not like an expert on this. I'm just like thinking about the things I've read and like how that would. It's weird. I think about the things that I read, and then I think of it as if it were a video game. And in my mind, I try to think, if I were the designer of this game, like what would the mechanics be, right? That's what I try to think about the mechanics of real life. Is that it's weird. It's because I'm a game. It's because I'm a game developer. So like I always think about this stuff. What is the mechanic here that like could that chemical bonding mechanic that is meant to like make two people like fall in love for like a long period of time, if you create that bonding chemical with multiple people, that would lessen the bond that you have with one specific person. Does that make sense? And I guess, yeah, porn would do that too. Possibly. If the same thing occurs during porn, then it would create that bond as well. It's actually how it works. Yeah. So like when two people have sex, there's a bunch of like chemicals involved in like that actual process for different things. Like some are like kind of like the like the dopamine high, and then there's like serotonin, and then there's oxytocin, I think, is the other one. And I think the oxytocin one is the one that I think there's more it's oxytocin, right? Am I wrong? Yeah, I think there's more oxytocin in women than there are in men, which creates like that bonding effect, basically, which makes you feel attached to a person. So like if you created that bond with too many people, it would lower the natural loyalty that you would have. Does that make sense? I don't know if that's true, but like mechanically it makes sense to me. Right? Am I making any sense, you guys? Like I feel like, and this graph kind of shows it, right? You can see the drastic decrease based on like this, right? Yeah, I wonder if that's true. I don't know if it's true, but I wonder if it is.
Likely to be. All of these things have come together to create a relationship wasteland in the West. It's created a situation where the average person has to choose between settling for a spouse with many past sexual partners, which they don't want, or dropping the idea of marriage entirely. A horrible situation through and through. Meanwhile, rather than trying to reverse this, Western media has led the charge in exacerbating this crisis. Studio executives practically fall over themselves to put forward female characters that are sexually promiscuous and masculine. As an example, in the show Game of Thrones, nearly every single female character is written to either be involved in numerous sexual relationships or to have no interest in men whatsoever. Other shows that focus on teenage relationships are rife with premarital sex, abortion, homosexuality, and marriage being treated as a backwards institution. So with both Western media and society increasingly abandoning both feminine and monogamous traits, anime has done
I like where this is going. Embrace anime.
on the opposite. It's now effectively one of the
I've been watching like romance anime lately and like reading romance manga, and it is fucking me up.
last reliable places young men can look to find idealized female portrayals who would make good wives. Thus, it shouldn't be surprising at all that it's garnered a large male audience. Now, a lot of anime fans may recognize this fact implicitly, but not actually be cognizant
Even if it was Raftalia, by the way, I also like Raftalia, so
of it. There are, after all, many anime fans who are
I swear it was Holo. Am I wrong? Oh my god, this is gonna bother me now.
degenerate. And I think part of the
They
reason
kind of look similar. Hollow and Raftalia look very similar. Like if you don't look at their ears. No, that one isn't Hollow. That one's Raftalia for sure. But I'm talking about the one before.
people exist is because they were never able to recognize what makes anime girls unique in the first place. And while I'm sure someone can find exceptions to what I've said in this video,
Man, Clannad was devastating. It's one of my mom's favorite animes, but it's so devastating.
they are just that, exceptions. To draw things to conclusion, the anime
Oh man.
industry produces some beautiful works that we as Westerners can learn from.
When I say it was devastating, I mean like it's good. It's good, but it hits you right in the feels.
None of this is to say that anime is perfect or that Japan is a perfect country. All things have their flaws. But what's clear here is that anime's female portrayals show feminine nature in a positive light that feminist media never can or will. In essence, it exposes the current cultural crisis in the West in both media and public attitudes. When a huge portion of your male population has to look to a foreign medium to find virtuous female portrayals, that's a serious problem. I ultimately hope this video helps people see.
The other thing too is like a lot of Western stuff kind of really is messing with. It's kind of a long thing. I'm only gonna dip into it because I don't want to go like too deep into it. But also is kind of like ruining like the whole concept of tomboys are also being kind of destroyed by the West as well.
The value of virtue and the void that's left when people turn their back on it. Now, there may be some things I forgot to mention, so feel free to leave your views in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing and clicking the notification bell, as it really helps me to make more. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.
That was such a good video. I agree with like basically everything there. Oh man, I should watch more of his videos. I should watch more. Okay, how spicy do these videos? I say this, but I've already seen some of them.